Marcus slammed the brakes on his bicycle so hard the back tire lifted off the wet road. A black SUV had sped through a puddle, soaking him from head to toe. The paper delivery bag slipped from his hand and crashed onto the sidewalk. "No, no, no," Marcus muttered, scrambling to pick it up. Soup leaked through the torn container. His phone buzzed violently. Late delivery warning. Account penalty risk. Marcus closed his eyes for one painful second. "That's my last order," he whispered. Rain hammered his face as cars rushed past him like he didn't exist. If you enjoy emotional stories with shocking endings, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment where you're watching from. Trust me, this story is going to hit hard. Marcus looked down at the ruined food. Then slowly he pulled money from his pocket. 3 crumpled bills. That was all he had left. He stared at them for a long moment before turning toward a tiny food stand still open under a flickering streetlight. "Can I get another soup?" he asked quietly. The old vendor frowned. "Again? Boy, you buying for that woman upstairs every night." Marcus forced a smile. "Yeah. You barely eat yourself. She needs it more." 10 minutes later, Marcus climbed 6 flights of stairs inside a dark apartment building that smelled like mold and old pipes. His legs shook from exhaustion. When he reached apartment 3B, he knocked softly. A weak voice answered. "Come in." Marcus stepped inside carefully. The apartment was dim except for a small lamp beside an old wheelchair. Vivian Hale sat there wrapped in a blanket, her hands trembling uncontrollably. "You're late tonight," she said gently. Marcus tried to joke. "Traffic." She looked at his soaked clothes immediately. "You're freezing." "I'm fine." "You're lying again." Marcus smiled weakly and opened the soup container. "Chicken soup tonight." Vivian's eyes softened. "You bought this with your own money again, didn't you?" Marcus avoided the question. "Open up." He carefully lifted the spoon to her lips. Outside, thunder rattled the windows. Inside, silence settled between them like something sacred. Vivian watched him closely. "You look tired." Marcus laughed under his breath. "Tired and me became best friends a long time ago. You should rest." "I can rest later." "No," Vivian whispered. "People who keep saying that eventually collapse." Marcus froze for a second, because deep down, he already felt himself collapsing. The next morning started with another disaster. Marcus woke up to banging on his apartment door. "Rent!" Trevor shouted from outside. "You hear me in there?" Marcus pulled himself off the mattress slowly. His apartment was barely bigger than a storage room. A leaking sink. A broken fan. Instant noodles stacked in one corner. He opened the door halfway. Trevor immediately pushed inside. "You got money?" "I just need more time." "You said that last week." "I'm working." Trevor laughed coldly. "Working? You call that work? Riding around delivering burgers for rich people." Marcus clenched his jaw. "I'll pay you. You got 48 hours. Trevor pointed around the apartment. "Or all this goes on the street." After he left, Marcus sat quietly on the bed. His phone buzzed again. It was his younger sister Nina. He answered immediately. "Nina." Her voice sounded nervous. Marcus' school called again. His heart sank instantly. "How much?" "I still owe $1,200. Marcus rubbed his forehead hard. "I'll figure it out." "You always say that." "I mean it." "Marcus," her voice cracked. "You can barely survive yourself." "I said I'll handle it." Silence. Then Nina whispered softly. "You shouldn't have to carry everything alone." Marcus looked around the empty apartment. But that was the problem. He was alone. That entire day, Marcus rushed across the city making deliveries non-stop. People ignored him. One customer yelled because fries were cold. Another slammed the door in his face. A group of teenagers mocked his bicycle. "Yo, somebody tip Grandpa." Marcus kept his head down. Because humiliation didn't hurt anymore. Hunger did. Fear did. The thought of failing Nina did. That night, after 12 exhausting hours, Marcus bought another meal for Vivian. When he entered her apartment, she noticed immediately that he was limping. "What happened?" "Bike chain slipped." "You're injured." "I'm okay." "You keep saying that." Marcus sat beside her and handed her the food. But before he could feed her, Vivian held his wrist weakly. "Did you eat today?" Marcus smiled automatically. "Of course." She stared directly into his eyes. "You're lying again." He looked away. Vivian slowly pushed half the sandwich back toward him. "Then we share." Marcus shook his head. "No. Marcus. You need it. And you need to stop pretending you're made of stone." His throat tightened unexpectedly. Nobody talked to him like that anymore. Nobody noticed him enough to care. Slowly Marcus took the sandwich. For a moment they ate quietly together. Then Vivian suddenly asked, "What did you dream of becoming?" Marcus blinked. "What? When you were younger?" He laughed softly. "You really want to know?" "Yes." Marcus stared down at the table. "A chef." Vivian smiled faintly. "I knew it." "How?" "The way you describe food every night." Marcus chuckled for the first time all day. "My mom used to cook all the time before she died." Vivian's face softened immediately. "I'm sorry." She used to say food could make people feel loved even when life didn't. Vivian looked at him carefully. "That's exactly what you're doing." Marcus didn't answer, because hearing those words hurt more than he expected. Days passed, then weeks. Every night Marcus showed up. Every single night. Sometimes with soup, sometimes bread, sometimes just tea when money got too tight. And every night, Vivian waited for him by the window. But strange things started happening. One evening Marcus noticed an expensive black car parked outside the building. Another day, he spotted a man in a suit leaving Vivian's apartment. Then there were the paintings. Beautiful paintings hidden beneath dusty sheets. Antique furniture worth thousands. None of it matched the old broken apartment. But Marcus never asked questions. Because honestly, he didn't care who Vivian used to be. To him she was just someone alone. Then everything exploded. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. Marcus delivered an expensive seafood order to a luxury apartment downtown. The customer opened the bag, frowned dramatically and shouted, "My drink is missing." Marcus checked immediately. It was included when the restaurant sealed it. "You calling me a liar?" "No sir, I'm just saying. I'm reporting you." Marcus's stomach dropped. "Please don't do that. You delivery people are all the same." The door slammed in his face. 3 hours later, Marcus's app logged him out permanently. Account suspended. Multiple customer complaints detected. Marcus stared at the screen in disbelief. No. He appealed immediately. Denied. Just like that. His income disappeared. His entire body went numb. That evening became worse. When Marcus reached the grocery store, he realized his bicycle was gone. Stolen. He stood there frozen for several seconds. Then panic exploded inside him. No, no, no. He searched every street nearby desperately. Nothing. That bicycle was everything. Work. Transportation. Survival. Gone. Marcus sat on the curb in complete silence while cars passed around him. Then his phone rang again. Nina. He almost didn't answer. "Marcus." He forced his voice steady. "Hey. I got removed from clinical training." His chest tightened painfully. "What?" "They said until tuition is paid, I can't continue." Marcus shut his eyes. "I'm sorry." "Stop apologizing." "I'm trying." "I know." But her voice cracked. And that destroyed him. Because Nina was the only family he had left. After the call ended, Marcus sat there staring at traffic lights flickering through the rain, completely broken. Then he looked at the small food container beside him. Vivian's dinner. Slowly, painfully, Marcus stood up and walked 3 miles carrying it. When Vivian opened the door that night, she immediately knew something was wrong. Marcus's eyes were swollen. His clothes were dirty. His hands shook while opening the container. "What happened?" "Nothing." "Marcus." He finally snapped. "Everything happened." The words echoed through the apartment. Marcus turned away instantly. "I'm sorry." Vivian stayed quiet. Marcus laughed bitterly. "I lost my job." Silence. "My bike got stolen." His voice cracked now. "Nina might lose school." He wiped his eyes angrily. "And I still can't pay rent." Vivian watched him carefully. You should have stayed home tonight. Marcus shook his head. You still needed dinner. That sentence shattered something inside her. Vivian stared at him for a very long time, then quietly asked, "Why do you keep helping me?" Marcus laughed painfully. "Because I know what it feels like." "What?" "To be abandoned." The room fell silent. Marcus looked down at his hands. "When my mom got sick, people disappeared one by one. Friends, family, everybody." Vivian's eyes filled slowly. Marcus continued quietly. "I remember how lonely she looked near the end." His voice trembled now. "So when I saw you sitting here alone every day," he swallowed hard, "I just couldn't walk away." Vivian looked away quickly, hiding tears. Marcus wiped his face and stood up. "I'm sorry for dumping all this on you." Before leaving, he whispered softly, "Good night, Vivian." But after the door closed, Vivian began crying silently. The next morning, Marcus woke to another bang on his door. "Trevor again. You got my money?" Marcus opened the door slowly. "I need more time." Trevor shoved him backward aggressively. "You think I'm running a charity?" Marcus clenched his fists. "I said I'm trying." Trevor pointed toward the hallway. Tomorrow morning. Final warning. After he left, Marcus sat on the floor exhausted. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He ignored it. It rang again. And again. Finally he answered. "Hello. Mr. Reed." "Yes. This is Harold Bennett from Hale Medical Enterprises." Marcus frowned. "What?" "We need you to come to Ashton Grand Towers immediately." "I think you have the wrong number." "No, sir. Mrs. Vivian Hale specifically requested you." Marcus froze completely. "What did you say?" "Mrs. Hale is waiting." An hour later, Marcus stood outside one of the richest buildings in the city. Luxury cars lined the entrance. Security guards opened doors for wealthy executives. Marcus looked down at his worn clothes. This can't be right. Inside, marble floors reflected crystal chandeliers. People in suits rushed everywhere. A receptionist smiled politely. "Mr. Reed." Marcus nodded slowly. "This way, please." His heart pounded violently as he followed her upstairs. The elevator opened into a massive private penthouse. Marcus stopped breathing. The same paintings from Vivian's apartment now hung beautifully on polished walls. Expensive furniture surrounded the room. Nurses moved quietly nearby. And there, sitting beside enormous windows overlooking the city, was Vivian. Except now she looked completely different. Elegant. Powerful. Alive in a way Marcus had never seen before. Marcus stared at her in shock. "What is this?" Vivian smiled softly. "Sit down, Marcus." "No." His voice trembled. "What is going on?" A man in a suit stepped forward. "Mrs. Hale is the founder of Hale Medical Enterprises." Marcus blinked repeatedly. The company was worth billions. Everybody knew that name. Marcus slowly looked back at Vivian. "You're rich." Vivian almost laughed sadly. "That's your first question?" Marcus shook his head in disbelief. "I don't understand." Vivian dismissed everyone else from the room, then quietly said, "After my stroke, I disappeared from public life." Marcus stayed frozen. "My son wanted control of the company. Board members fought over money. People stopped treating me like a human being." Her eyes darkened painfully. "So I left." Marcus sat slowly now. Vivian continued, "I moved into that building because nobody important would ever look for me there." "Why?" "Because I wanted to know something." Marcus whispered, "What?" Vivian's eyes locked onto his. If kindness still existed when money disappeared. The room fell silent. "You fed me when you were starving." Marcus looked down immediately. "You stayed when everybody else ignored me." Tears filled Vivian's eyes. "And you never asked for anything." Marcus swallowed hard. "I wasn't helping you for money." "I know." That answer broke her voice completely. Marcus looked overwhelmed. "This doesn't make sense." Vivian smiled weakly. "You reminded me of my husband." Marcus looked confused. "He used to feed homeless people every Sunday before he died. Said compassion was the only thing people carried to the grave." Marcus couldn't speak. Vivian reached for a folder on the table. Inside were documents, apartment papers, bank information, tuition transfers. Marcus frowned deeply. What is this? Vivian smiled through tears. A chance to breathe again. Marcus stared at the numbers in disbelief. This is too much. It's not enough. I can't take this. Yes, you can. Marcus stood abruptly. No, Vivian. I helped you because it was right. And I'm helping you because it's right. Silence. Then Vivian whispered. When I had nothing to offer you, you still came back every night. Marcus's eyes filled instantly. Vivian continued softly. You saved me too, Marcus. He looked away quickly, trying not to cry. But it was impossible now. Months later, a small restaurant opened near the east side of Ashton Heights. Second serving. The line stretched outside daily. People came for the food, but they stayed for Marcus. Because Marcus cooked like every meal mattered. Like every plate carried love. Nina finally graduated nursing school. The first photo hanging inside the restaurant was Marcus, Nina, and Vivian smiling together. Family. One snowy evening after closing time, Marcus stepped outside carrying leftover soup. Across the street sat an elderly homeless man trembling from cold. Marcus walked over quietly. Sir. The man looked up nervously. Marcus handed him the soup. It's hot. Careful. The old man stared at him in disbelief. Why are you helping me? Marcus smiled softly. 'Cause now? He finally understood the answer completely. Because nobody deserves to be abandoned. The old man's eyes filled with tears. And above the restaurant door, the lights of second serving glowed warmly against the dark night sky. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your favorite moment below. And remember, sometimes the smallest acts of kindness change lives forever.